as we kick off a best of 5 here on Cosmic Sapphire. I'm glad to see this map as the first. Not LE, ESL. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the red Protoss player sending out probes. Please tell me it's their gold base. He is from the land of Korea, of course, going to be representing Alpha X. He is Zoun Joyun.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire ESL, we have the South Korean Zerg player himself representing KyZ Gaming. It is Solar.
Man, I got way too excited about this probe.
You're like, it's an early probe, but I'm like, I mean, hatch blocks are a thing, is it?
Yeah, it's like, it's
Yeah.
like, so, yeah.
I
You
know.
just want to, be a little bit safer, go out and, potentially go for the hatch block as well. Some Protoss players, they like to pylon scout in a PvZ. Others, they just like to scout and then get their pylon.
Yeah.
Zoun is more of the latter kind.
Yeah, I think your reaction was well apt as well, just because this is one of the larger maps in the map pool, Cosmic Sapphire, which means if you want to get here in time, you do have to go a little bit earlier as well. So yeah, Zoun just making sure he makes things a little bit uncomfortable for Solar. Other than that, nothing too crazy. But the map itself, again, people should be a little bit more well versed with this. This map specifically, you mentioned it, does have a gold.
Oh yeah. I loved what we've seen recently, what players have done on Cosmic Sapphire. I think Hero? I'm not sure how...
Kiwian.
Kiwian was definitely one of the players who a couple of weeks ago went for a gold base first against Hero, and then a couple of weeks later, Hero did that in a PvT himself.
Yep.
It was, we're seeing a lot of very interesting things being done here.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because there's only one gold base on this map. There is no gold towards the top right-hand side, so this map is a little bit different because of that. And it's not that difficult to take. It is pretty exposed. It is pretty far out there, don't get me wrong, but if a player has momentum, especially in a longer game, then you can take advantage of this map. And it can sometimes be a little bit difficult to scout, just because I think players are still getting used to this map. They don't know how often they should be checking that location.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Seeing how it evolves throughout the course of the season. Definitely looking forward to the maps being sent to the map pool as well.
Mate, everyone is.
Yeah.
Oh god, I can't wait. I just get Blackburn out of here. I've had enough of 2000 atmospheres. We have our own memes on that map. I get it. It's great. It's beautiful. But I just want some new maps.
Yep.
The skater boy. See you later, boy. No. Oh god. Yeah.
That's the thing. We haven't found our memes yet for the new maps.
We'll find them. Once we get Steel on it, he'll be all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good and bad memes. But despite that, we do have some pretty standard openers here. Solar did go for his third base on time. We had a Stargate opener from Zoun, nothing too crazy. It is going to be that Oracle first.
Yeah, second Oracle on the way. We'll see if he does decide to go for that good old hero style of transitioning and Blink Stalkers from here, or if he has his own take on the Swarm Toss. Or if he even goes Swarm Toss. I like how I'm saying it yes, PvZ, Swarm Toss. That's not necessarily the case. And there have been a couple of players who have shown that you can still play different styles. You can play robo-heavy styles, especially in PvZ nowadays. I don't remember who it was I saw who did that, but yeah, we'll see what Zoun's take on PvZ is.
Yeah, I think that was the most interesting thing about Valencia is that a lot of the European Protoss players had their own take on the Swarm Toss style. Some of them were going heavy Arc. I think Neeb was going heavy Archon. Heavy Archon charge lot eventually from Blink Stalkers. So they had their own kind of transitions. Some players like to go into Sky Toss a little bit earlier. But we see here from Zoun, it is the triple Oracle opener. This is what we expect to see from, if Hero was playing, for example.
Yeah, Twilight Council and most likely Blink. It could also be Charge coming in from there. Forge coming up, and a Robo facility to support with Warp Prisms not long afterwards.
Yeah, and that is the first divergence. Hero does delay his Robo quite a bit more, and he relies on, we've spoken about this before, especially on larger maps, he relies on proxy gateways instead of Warp Prisms to reinforce. Meanwhile, before we get too ahead of ourselves, we do have the Oracles diving on in because we have 3 Oracles. The Micro is good enough. They all live, and 4 drones go down.
Nice. Not the biggest damage in the world, but of course you can't put a price on the life of an Oracle. Well, actually you can. It's what is it? 150 minerals, 200 gas. I would have to double check. I don't play. I don't play Protoss. Yeah, it's something, you know. Oh, couple of adepts getting caught. More importantly, the Sentry thought it could save itself with some force fields, but does get taken out by the Lings. Very, very valuable pickoff here this early on from Solar.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's important that we pointed out the early Robo as well from Zoun, and that does signify that we have a transition here. We do have a Robotics Bay behind this, so he is not relying on just Gateway units. I mean, he starts off with Gateway units, but he is going to be going for the backbone of Disruptors or even Colossi instead. So again, a very different style here from Zoun, and that's why it's all the more important for Solar to scout this. And he does. Overseer goes in, and he sees everything.
Yeah, a adjustment has to be made here. Aspire gets thrown down. It'll be interesting to see if he goes Corruptus from here or Mutalis. I think that is something else that we've also seen lately or something else that's a bit of a point of contention nowadays in CVP when the Protoss player does go Colossus. Some Zerg players, I think Solar actually, has shown that he likes going Corruptus to take out those Colossus and then vomit on buildings. A couple of good surrounds here. Does get a high NG Sentry in the end, but yeah, Zoun is able to survive.
Yeah, that's honestly some really nice pickoffs here from Solar, bearing in mind that he did get +1 melee, so these Lings hit that much harder, and he was able to get 2 sentries in the end. Not bad at all. What's important as well is that if we look at his vision, Solar did see the Robotics Bay researching, so we should know that it is going to be for Colossi. That extended thermal lens is on the way. That's a great way to deal with Lings, but the Colossi aren't out yet.
No, they are not, and Solar's taking full advantage of this. That was a kill, not a cancel on that 4th base. And we got a full surround on the Gateway army as well. Things are going from bad to worse here for Zoun. He's force fielding like his life depends on it, and it honestly kind of does. But he's taking damage regardless.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's so important that a couple of sentries died earlier. You know, without those force fields, this army would have 100% gotten surrounded and died there by all those Lings. So very nicely done here so far by Solar. But now the first Colossi coming out. Before that happens, the Mutas are here, and they're already in the Mineral Lines.
That's an interesting choice being taken here by Solar. I think we're a little bit used to him going for Corruptus from here. But as we can see, the Mule is still very highly effective combat units when there aren't that many Stalkers out, and also very good harassment units. They make short work of the Colossus as well, if you have enough Mules. Mules are just a great unit.
Yeah, exactly. There's just too much momentum here for Solar. He takes down the 4th base again for a second time. A lot of workers went down. The Colossi went down. Again, Solar, he recognized that there just wasn't a lot of anti-air. There wasn't a lot of Stalkers. The critical mass that we really needed, and Solar just abused that completely. Now, it looks like Zoun is going to be able to defend, but, I mean, at what cost?
Well, at the cost of his Colossus, all his sentries, a cannon here, a bunch of probes, I imagine. Zoun did, since he is going for a bit of a Swarm Toss style, he has the potential to warp in as many Stalkers as he needs, and they were kind of dealing with the Mutalist, but then came the Lings. GG, Solar takes game number 1.
GG, well played. Very nice scouting there by Solar, recognizing that, again, a lot of gas was going to be saved up and spent on Colossi, and there was a massive opportunity for his Mutas. We saw the the insane surrounds. We saw the target fire as well. Very well done by Solar.
Absolutely. I was actually kind of doubting him a little bit there. You know, are Mutalists really going to work out? You know, he has to really be careful with them. Apparently not. No, not when there aren't any Archons or Phoenixes out on the map. It's still fine.
Yeah, still fine in the end. That was again really well done by Solar. I just love how in the end, because he opened up with +1 melee links, they really did complement the mutas incredibly well. And like that tech path kind of opened up once he did realize like the robo like commitment. If there wasn't a robo commitment, I don't know if he would have really gone for the mutas, but yeah, it was really well done.
Absolutely well done. And now we're going to be continuing our series on Inside and Out. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, swinging all the way in the top right-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Protoss player. He's going to be coming down here from that land that we all know as Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing that team that we all know as Alpha X. He is Zoun. Or Joyun.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside Out ESL, we have the South Korean Zerg player himself representing Kai Z Gaming. It is Solar. And as we get into this, I do also want to give a bit of a shout out to some people in the chat. Massive shout out to Steel Mold in the chat, the bespoke meme generator himself. Thank you so much for the 43-month sub in a row.
Dang, that's like almost as long as he's. If those. Yeah, it's,
where are you going with that?
I was gonna say that's like if those were years, that's like half of as long as Steel has been alive.
Oh my god, if those were years, then Steel would be much younger. Oh my god. Thank you.
We could use some of your memes, Steel.
We could.
Maps.
We look forward to it because Steel Mold will be casting this week. I know it's been a while because our amateur events have been on hiatus, but Master Swan Open is going to be this weekend. So look forward to that. Steel Mold will be casting. I also want to give a quick shout out to Asher Bro as well for subscribing. 5 months. Thank you, Asher.
Ooh, that's like if they were years. it'd be a lot younger than Asher Bro.
What is wrong with you? Oh god. So yeah,
Isn't it crazy how months and years are different?
It's crazy. I was gonna say that, mate, 43 months. I wonder if Steel Mold subscribed the first. No, he was the first to subscribe when we got affiliates, I believe.
Yeah, one of the first. It's him, Daunted, and I think it's him and Daunted. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Steel. It's been a long road, a long journey for us. A long journey.
It's been 5 years. We've been going at it. Jeez, how has it been that long?
It's been 5 long years, mate. 5 long years, and we finally got the new map pool. We don't even have the new. We're gonna get the new map pool.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Are we even gonna have new maps this Friday?
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. But before we get too far into ourselves, Zoun is going for a Robo opener. Oh, sorry, a Twilight Council into Robo opener. My apologies.
You love to see it. Very committed coming out here from Zoun. We'll, of course, have to keep our eye out for how many gateways he actually throws out with this. If it's going to be 4, or if it's going to be 6. Regardless, with the Robo facility, and I imagine with the Warp he's going to get from this. It's a little bit more dedicated than building it back home.
Yeah, this is a little bit more old school. Like, glaive builds are still relatively popular. Not as popular as they used to be back in the day, but it is, it is still viable nonetheless. We do have 4 gates in total so far, which is standard, but if more gates can get thrown down, then it's going to be that much more all-in.
Yeah, keep my eyes peeled over here in Zoun's mineral lines, but yeah, for the time being, it seems he is content with seeing what he can get done on 4 bases.
Yep, and this is all going to get scouted. Solar, he sneaks on in, he confirms the Robo, he confirms the upgrade on the Twilight Council, the gas geysers as well. He's aware that there was no gas being pulled, so there's no weird charge all in or anything like that. He knows it's adepts, and he should be preparing himself. Unfortunately, he's not set up to try and SimCity and wall off his natural. Instead, he has to try and keep up with those shades.
Yeah, which is definitely something you can do with Lings on Creep, but They are just links at the moment. Even if he does get a lot of them, they can get shredded down. You see it transition to roaches now, but it does still take time to boost them.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, we see a commitment into the shade. Nice SimCity here behind the minerals, I should say, so reducing as much surface area as possible. These adepts are trading as well as they can, but despite that, there's still a lot of DPS, a lot of lings, and a lot of queens.
Yeah, the queens especially are definitely a bit of a problem. Queens do not care about choke points. In fact, if you think you're fighting queens in a choke point, you're wrong. The queens are fighting you in a choke point. I'm liking the micro coming out so far from Zoun, but considering how committed he's been, I'm not sure if this is enough yet.
Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, that one adept got all those, the majority of those drone kills, by the way.
Yeah.
We thought the defense was looking quite solid from Solar, and it was, but it looks like a couple of adepts did sneak into that third base. 10 workers have gone down, and this was necessary by Zoun. Zoun now has a worker lead, but he has to be careful because there's a lot of roaches, and he has to make sure that this roach army stays at home and doesn't go for a counterattack. Not yet.
Yeah, the roaches on the map pretty much signifies the end right now of the end of the adept harass, and Zoun is well aware of that. He has transitioned out. He is getting disruptors as a way to defend and eventually to harass with that warp prism speed as well.
Yeah,
I see it.
It was a really interesting kind of transition from Zoun to go for that robotic spay. The more standard thing is to just start and keep pumping out immortals, and they do come out faster. You know, this is going to take a little bit longer. Oh my god, no, the warp prism! No!
With 4 adepts in it, will go down. You never want to underestimate the range of queens here.
And Yaku, that means that this warp prism speed isn't going to do anything. He has to make the double disruptor, and now he has to wait even longer for a warp prism as well. He will remake it, but again, this is something that, like, the time you spend producing for the robo facility is so valuable here for the Protoss.
It absolutely is. This gives Solar such a massive window of opportunity to just drone up like he already has. He's overtaken the workers. He's getting pretty close to that mid-game amount of drones where he just cut workers and built nothing but army. In fact, that's already what he's doing right now.
Pretty much 52 drones is all we need right now. I'm sure Solar's going to eventually try and expand and take another base. For the time being, the adepts are trying to poke in, but there are more than enough roaches to defend. Eventually, the prism is going to move out across the map, but again, this is very late. Solar doesn't have eyes on this yet, though, so it could catch him by surprise as his Overseer is coming on in.
Yeah, I doubt he'll really be able to see that Robo Bay, at least not in time. He knows it's out there, but does he really know what's coming for him?
I mean, he sees it's not researching, so it should be Colossi. Here we go. Zoun is coming across the map with a massive follow-up push. A lot of adepts, and how good are those Purification Evers going to be?
That's what we're about to find up here. I'm looking at all these roaches and how clumped up they are. The Ravagers are here to provide whatever help they can. This is yeah, I was going to say you don't really want to be unloading your disruptors here, but you should siege up that warp prism and warp in a couple more adepts. Nova will get a very juicy connection. Good chunk of the roaches and a Ravager as well gets taken out.
Oh, exactly.
There's so much momentum behind this army.
Exactly. Workers are falling left and right as well. Would you see a shade not just into the natural base, but also into the third as well? Solar is being pulled apart right now. He was maybe a little bit too greedy droning up, but again, he didn't recognize what was coming his way until it was a little bit too late. And the Novas, they go off again.
GG is called, and Zoun will tie up our series, our best of 5 series, sideways 1-1.
GG. I have to wonder about something because you mentioned it yourself. The follow-up Overseer scout from Solar was a little bit late. By the time he saw it, the army was already coming at him. And I have to wonder if the delayed drop kind of gave Solar a false sense of security. Like, I'm sure killing the prism, like, it signifies, okay, now I can drone up to my heart's content. Whereas Zoun is getting ready for just essentially almost an all-in. Like,
pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I mean, Solar, he was building a lot of army towards the end there, but it was surprising. Like, as you pointed out, he kind of stopped making workers at 52 supply for a little bit, but then a while later decided, you know what? A couple more drones can't hurt, right? They did. They can, and they absolutely did. And with that, we are heading into game number 3 on equal footing. Over here, a Tropical Scarf Sacrifice. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have a red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Alpha X, the general himself. Some know him as Zoun, others know him as Zoun.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice ESL, we have the South Korean Zerg player himself representing PvZ Gaming. It is Solar. Oh boy, Solar, as you were saying, maybe feeling a little bit too safe and secure. Wasn't quite ready for that push. It wasn't just the timing of the push either. We should also say that the fact that the Prism was able to get into the main base and that position on the high ground was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. As soon as I saw it, I was like, there's no way that Solar can push up the ramp. Otherwise, there's just no way.
Yeah, who needs force fields if you have thick adepts, you know?
And boy, were they thick. Nothing could get through. The wall of adepts was just a little bit too strong. And if the wall wasn't strong enough, we had disruptors behind it if anything wanted to get up into that main base.
And everything wanted to get up in there. But none of them did. That was definitely a map that Soul is going to have to ruminate a little bit on. I gotta say, I feel a little bad for Solar, man. He is one of the very few Zerg players signed up here amongst a wave of Terran, and especially his least favorite race, Protoss.
It's a lot of people's least favorite race. But you're right. Like, Solar has been very vocal about his disdain for ZVP. I will say he is looking better in it in this current meta. Like, Solar was getting ready to end it when with double Stargate Void Ray, you know? That was a dark time in Solar's life, dealing with the Stargate play.
Yeah, the sun was blocked out.
It was not a pretty sight. But I do think that Solar is shining a little bit brighter in current meta.
Well, yeah, he definitely is, you know? He still has a couple of things to say, but he's definitely enjoying it more now than a couple of months ago.
Exactly, and we'll see if it's going to be enough here to qualify for TSL. So far, we do have Zoun going back to what he's used to, going back to what is standard, and it is going to be a Stargate opener, no more Twilight Council. I did really appreciate that Zoun mixed it in this series, though. Again, it's not as common anymore, and to just whip out some Glaive Adepts randomly in a best-of-5 series, it's a good move. Yeah,
not just the Glaive Adepts, but Glaive Adept into Disruptors as well. That was not something... One, not something I was expecting. Two, if I was to see something like that, I would think, okay, with the Disruptors, he can just, turtle up, get on 4 bases, and then get a late-game army. But Zoun, he says, no, I don't have to just turtle up. I can use Disruptors offensively as well.
Yeah, exactly. Relatively non-standard from Zoun in that previous game. It was really cool to see. I don't think we're going to see that again in this series. It is a best of, and there are potentially a lot of games ahead of us, but I don't think it would be a wise choice. That's something that you whip out once, you surprise your opponents, like, oh, suddenly there are disruptors, and don't quite do that again.
Yeah. It's not very ideal here.
Yeah, he's not going to pull a Quanta.
Hopefully not.
You're like, but Thor drops there.
Yeah, it worked against the Zerg Lord, you know?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So, yeah.
Oh god. Meanwhile, again, something a little bit more standard. This should be reminding people of Cosmic Sapphire. We do have a triple Oracle up here. Oh my god, there are so many queens ready and waiting here at the third base. Oracle taking a little bit of damage. Behind this, Solar is going for fast +1 melee, though. This does seem to be one of the more secure ways to play against Blink Stalkers, if it is going to be Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, and even if it isn't, there's a lot of harassment potential with +1 links. The Oracle getting a little bit greedy here. Things are getting dangerous, but it somehow lives against all odds.
Oh my god. How? With 4 HP, that Oracle barely manages to survive. Meanwhile, at the same time, the Adepts are being caught out. The Lings clean up every single Adept, and now they're going to be rushing across the map. Zoun has to race them back home to this third base, but with 2 Adepts and a shield battery and Oracles, Zoun, he should be okay here.
That's what he thinks. The Oracles, how much energy do they have? Well, yeah, quite a bit. It's still fine.
A nice little bait there. I don't know if you noticed, as soon as the Lings revealed themselves, Zoun, he immediately activated his Pulsar Beam. So nice little juke from Solar, nice little mind game. Meanwhile, he dips on in, he confirms the gateways, he confirms the Twilight Council. Solar, who this time is aware of what Zoun is doing.
Yeah, well and well aware. He sees it all.
Oh, exactly. And we saw how effective these Lings were in game number 1 on Cosmic Sapphire. He got, what, 2-3 sentries before any kind of big engagements. This time, though, we see that Zoun is playing this a little bit more standard. There are no sentries yet behind this. He's being a little bit more safe and secure with his army positioning. He hasn't lost much at all.
Yeah, 30 bases with 65 workers. That's about where you want to be as the Protoss player. Going into the mid game, you have so much flexibility from here.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, I have a little bit of deja vu, Yaku, because once again, we do see a robotic spay.
And once again, we see a Spire coming down. I swear, this is a pack that they have.
Yeah. Oh god, meanwhile, there we go, just barely. The Overseer does catch a glimpse of the robotics bay. At the same time, Oracle's just tagging a couple of units. Lings are trying to sneak in towards the third base. Again, the scout is the most important thing. Oh my god, but we see a tech switch!
Yeah, boy, Stargates have been thrown down. I believe Zoun was able to tag the Spire as it was being built with that Oracle, so this makes a lot of sense from him. +1 Blink Stalkers, along with Phoenixes, are going to be absolutely brutal against Moonless, but it might not be Moonless, because as we see, Solar has thrown down an Infestation Pit now.
Interesting. I mean, we do have a lot of gas banked up here for Solar. We'll see if he makes use of the Spire. He knows that he just got scouted, by the way, but there we go. Mutas are coming out. Hopefully, he doesn't overcommit, because as you said, Zoun had a very nice response to it, and Solar hasn't seen this, but again, he should know that Zoun saw the Spire. Even here.
That's what we think. Okay, now he has to have seen it with that tag.
Yeah. Oh god, I think Zoun just went in just to make sure that the Spire finished. You know, there wasn't like a weird cancel or anything like that. So he's just being safe and secure with what he is seeing. The Stargates are ready. We see that no Phoenixes are coming out yet, but I think, yeah, he just wants to confirm that mutas are actually being made.
Yeah, and it's not Haluk Mutalist either. They actually hurt the Oracles.
Exactly. The Oracle does barely manage to escape. There we go. The Phoenixes are now on the way. 3 Phoenixes at a time, all ready to shut down the mutas. But what I love about Solar is that he just revealed his mutas. He made sure that Zoun saw them, and now he's not making any more.
Like, hey, Zoun, I have mutas. You're gonna need to respond to that. And Zoun says, okay, I will. Joke's on you, I actually have roaches.
Oh my god, I love it. But at the same time, Zoun doesn't take the bait. Zoun made 3 Phoenixes, and that is it.
That is it. Yeah, 3 Phoenixes can actually do quite a lot to CC the army as well. There aren't that many Ravagers here for Solar, but there are a lot of Lings. And what kills Lings like better than Colossus? Archons arguably,
yeah,
but Colossus are pretty good, yeah.
I thought you were going for Archons there, buddy. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. Colossi are amazing. The Phoenixes get shut down. Again, they did not force a major reaction from Zoun. Very nicely done here, just tempering himself and make sure he doesn't overreact. And now, like, his army is looking so solid. He's working towards charge. He's working towards... Oh my god, the stasis traps!
He is working towards those stasis traps. Decent chunk of Lings cut off. Just like so, Banelings roll in, but don't actually get too many kills. Oh, because of stasis.
To have a couple of stasis traps here and there being set up, Baneling's gonna eventually roll on in into Stalkers of all things. They couldn't even trigger a second stasis trap, actually. Never mind.
I would love to see that, but instead they just roll into the Stalkers. The Stalkers don't even flinch. Love to pick off here on the Queens, getting a little bit too comfortable for Solar.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, another bailing run by trying to be set up here, trying to get into one of these bases. But again, with stasis traps all over the place, it's so difficult for Solar to really get any damage done. And Zoun's army is looking terrifying. He is now maxed. He's moving out. Solar is trying to work up towards Broodlords. But again, we're not going to see Broodlords anytime soon.
Yeah, it takes a very long time to finish up that Grave Spire, a long time to clear up enough supply to transition to Broodlords, and then a lot of time to actually create the Broodlords as well. Solar setting up a bit of a pseudo-surround on top of this army.
Yeah, exactly. We do see a couple force fields being thrown down. Ravagers do make short work of them, but the Colossi are going to town.
They very much are, but so are the Corruptors. Infestor, or not Infestor, sorry, Viper did get sniped earlier on. A couple of Banelings actually crash into the sentries.
Yeah.
Zoun starting to run out of steam here, but Solar bleeding out a lot of units too.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, better for the Zerg player.
Oh my god, you say that, but the Blink Stalkers are breaking on through. They're going to be able to get this hatchery. Corruptors do not shoot down. At the same time, we did finally have a Baneling run by 9 probes went down, but Zoun was able to respond in time. Only loses 9. The hatchery is going to go down, and with these reinforcements, is there enough for Zoun to keep on going?
Honestly, there may be. Solar is building a lot of links. He is building a lot of roaches, sorry, but how much can they realistically get done here?
Exactly. The Corruptors are trying to do what they can, but you know what? We have some Blink Stalkers being warped in back at home. What's important is that we have 2 stasis traps behind this. If Zoun does get overwhelmed, he can just blink back, and again, he can just CC the army. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
And that's exactly what he's looking to do. See a transition now. Zoun saying, okay, the Colossus have served their purpose. I'm going to get a couple of Immortals here to reliably try to deal... To reliably try to deal with the... roaches. And what did we say earlier, Light? What's the best unit for dealing with lings? Archons. Archons and Storm.
Let's go. High Templar are going to be on the way as well. I mean, so what's important is that the Colossi count did get reset. You pointed out as it was happening, like, that was a really solid fight for Zoun, but towards the end, a couple of Banelings rolled in and like 5 or 6 sentries died in the blink of an eye. It was crazy. If it wasn't for that, maybe Zoun could have won the game then and there. It's hard to say. But without any Colossi, we don't have a lot of splash damage right now. Like, Storm isn't done yet. There's a pretty big window here where Solar can make something happen.
Yeah, he's being cautious right now. He's waiting for this Viper to get out and to suck on some energy. He's trying to max out as quickly as he can. And now he pulls the trigger.
Yeah, exactly. We do see a cancel there on the third base. The Ling Bane is trying to roll on in. So far, do we have enough sentries? You do not. And Storm isn't ready.
It is not. So many of these Banelings crash into the Stalkers, but when you have enough Banelings, they kill just about anything with their instant damage. Storm did just finish up, but there's not enough energy here for the High Templar to keep it going.
Oh, exactly. It is enough to force Solar back because, I mean, he's respecting that. He's like, I don't know how many storms you have. I'm going to back the hell up. As a result, he's going to lose a couple of Roaches and Ravagers in the retreat, but Zoun has to be careful not to overextend. 36 Lings are on the way. The Vipers are slowly gathering energy. Zoun has to be careful not to be caught out here.
Yeah, one good, not Parasitic Bomb, the ground one, Blinding Cloud, can really just shut down the strengths of this army. You know, Stalkers, what are they best at? Mobility and having range. I think probably the best range of any tier 1 unit in StarCraft 2. You know, you get rid of that and get basically that supply.
Yeah, exactly. And Zoun, he only pokes in, he clears up a lot of creep in the middle of the map, and then he will back off. He's trying to expand, he's trying to get a 5th base up and running. Solar himself also re-expanding, retaking these bases. There was a little bit of a Zealot run by, but unfortunately didn't really get too much damage. Zoun was on top of it, he shut it down. Sorry, Solar was on top of it, he shut it down, and yeah, both players just bounce off each other. They have to slowly lick their wounds and figure out what is this they want to do with when it comes to their army compositions. Up!
And maybe look at the High Templar! Almost gets cut out. That was a storm. That was such a safety storm.
Yeah.
Arguably a waste of energy, but not really.
Yeah, I kind of wish the Lynx committed. It's hard to say. I mean, they did get really bruised there. Meanwhile, Solar, he's just sending everything through the middle of the map. The Lynx actually get into the main.
Yeah,
Zoun, he's out of position.
He thought he did. Yeah, Zoun thought he didn't have to worry about that wall anymore, but he did. Archon gets cut out and killed by Lings, actually. Not something you see every day. But Solar's turning around?
Solar
I'm not sure if this is the best idea.
I don't know either. He turns around. Meanwhile, there are Broodlords back at home. Those Corruptors from earlier, they survived and they are serving a purpose. Meanwhile, the Lings in the main base, surprisingly, haven't really killed many workers at all.
Yeah, it's the power of the shield batteries, I suppose. Stalkers blink on forward, and they are able to take out a Brute Lord. Zoun's starting to bleed out a couple of units here. Solar, he's desperately trying to find a way to surround this army, but he is not finding it. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, we still have like 2 more storms in the chamber here for Zoun. He cannot get surrounded at the same time. Another Ling run by, but the wall is a wall against Zoun. I'm so impressed, but finally,
that's what we thought.
Some workers are falling.
Yeah, I feel bad for that poor Zealot. They got pushed out of position by the probes, funnily enough, and into the jaws of those Lings. Probes go down. Zealots go down. Army is being kept home right now for Zoun.
Yeah,
and Soul's gaining ground across the map.
Exactly, he's forced to warp in back at home. Meanwhile, a couple of High Templar almost getting caught out. We do have a couple more Broodlords. What's important is that the Broodlord count isn't really at critical mass right now. This is still, you can still deal with this with Blink Stalkers. Only 6 Broodlords in total. But Zoun was already set up previously. Tempests are coming out. They only just started, so it's going to take a while for them to come out. But once they do, they will be an answer to those Broodlords. Oh.
Yeah. How good of an answer? We'll find out. Banelings coming around. I like this from Sola. He basically herded the probes into the Banelings. 14 of them going down, and potentially more where that came from. No.
Oh.
Well, yes, actually. That is the power of +3 melee versus 0 armor upgrades. It only takes 1 Baneling to wipe out a mineral line.
Sometimes it only takes 1. Zoun again. He was throughout this entire game. He was doing such a good job at minimizing worker losses, but over time, 60 minutes later, Solar is finally finding some cracks in the armor.
And he does have a lot of Nexuses. He is rebuilding his probe count, but you really don't want to be spending minerals on probes at this phase of the game when you could be spending them on units. The Nexus, that is the power of +3 melee! Absolutely deleted off the face of the earth, off the face of the tropical Scarface right here.
Yeah, exactly.
By the Ling sacrifice.
The Banelings, they did their job. The Lings as well. And again, Solar, he wants to get rid of these Lings and these Banelings because he is remaxing on Corruptors. He is remaxing on more Broodlords. We were talking about it before. The Broodlord count wasn't really at critical mass. Not yet, but it is slowly getting there. We now have 7 Broodlords, and now we have some free supply for Corruptors to help deal with these Tempests.
We absolutely do. Solar should be aware of that, and, you know, obviously Corruptors as well. They do bonus damage against Tempest, don't they?
Oh, God, I mean, they may as well. And we only have, okay, never mind. We do have 5 Tempests now joining the fray. Do we have enough Corruptors to deal with this? That's what I'm a little bit worried about. We only have 8 Corruptors right now. That's honestly not that many. We have a Yoink. Ooh. Yeah,
we have a Yoink, but we have a Storm as well. Solar kind of fighting through the Storms right now. He's really trying to target down these low health Tempests. He will be able to get him. And doesn't lose too many Corruptors in that either.
Yeah, at the same time he goes for a Ling run by. Zoun cannot get that northern base up and running. Meanwhile, Storms just continue to blanket the army. Zoun doing a great job at trying to kite all the way back. But again, his economy is being stifled. He does expand towards the south. He will get a 5th base up and running. The Archon's derping a little bit there. But honestly, this base is pretty important. This means that Zoun is still in this.
Yeah, it's kind of Zoun's saving grace right now. The fact that Solar has no idea that he actually has a 5th base up and running.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if this is the fight that we really want to be taking right now. We don't have any Storms with this army.
Yeah, every single High Templar was turned into an Archon. Solar starting to fight pretty deep off of creep, if I'm being honest. The Brute Lords are very slowly getting forward. The Banelings take out a couple of Stalkers. Actually take out 2 Archons, if I saw that correctly.
Yeah, the Archons went down. Meanwhile, we have a little bit of a Zealot run by here. Is going to take out the northernmost base here of Solar. At the same time, Ling Bane run by is going to hit one of the crucial mining bases of Zoun. The main army is pushing on forward as well. And again, without Storm, we do have a couple of Storms coming in, but I just don't know if there's enough here for Zoun.
Yeah, it feels like Storms are getting baited out by the Corruptors. The Corruptors don't care anyway. They're taking out the Tempest. The Roaches and Ravagers fight through the Storms and take out the Immortals as well. Brute Lords start to go down. But so is the rest of Zoun's army.
Yeah, exactly. Everything falls. The Immortals, the Archons, the Stalkers, and the Tempest. It was just too much. GG gets called, and Solar will take a 2-1 lead in this series.
We need 1 more to qualify for TSL 9.
Oh. GG, well played. What a game, man.
What a game. Yeah, I think that was probably the longest one we've had so far, and it really went the distance.
Oh, it really did. It really did. Can he keep on going, though? Does he have the momentum as we are getting into our next game here? Solar only needs uno más, one more to qualify for TSL. Zoun has to bring it back here and now.
Indeed, he does. But if I know anything about Zoun, I know he has many, many, many tricks up his sleeve.
Oh yeah, he really does. And again, what I will say is that Zoun, he still looks so good in that game. Again, if he didn't miss that one force field, if all those sentries hadn't died in that big push, again, maybe that could have been the push. Oh, but the game went on a bit longer, and we all enjoyed ourselves. That was great.
Yeah, I definitely did. Very action-packed, and now we are coming on to data. See? And if you had an off switch, Doctor, would you not keep it a secret? I'm trying to figure out ways of how I can integrate the data quotes into the intros of this map, but we'll figure it out eventually. In the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner, we have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Alpha X. He is Zoun, or Joan.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data C ESL, we have the South Korean Zerg player himself representing PvZ Gaming. It is Solar. And as we get into this game, I also want to give a massive shout out to another resubscriber we had in the chat, Babylings in the chat for 2 months in a row. Thank you so much for the support. To Babylings, to Asher, to Steel Mold. Thank you so much. Again, it's we've been on a little bit of a break when it comes to casting, but it feels good to be back.
Yeah, it feels good to be back in the pond. And we've come back in the pond in the right time. Kuro has stocked the fridge. We have a lot of snacks from what I can see here in the overlays.
Not the healthiest snacks, but snacks nonetheless. We didn't really get to talk.
Don't feed your ducks cotton candy or gummy bears.
Exactly. Do not feed your ducks candy, cupcakes, ice cream, gummy bears, none of this.
Popcorn. Actually, maybe unpopped popcorn. I'm
maybe.
not sure.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe.
I know normal corn is fine.
True.
I don't know about popcorn.
Yeah. I just wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to Ollie and the TSL admins and the TSL team. Sorry, the TeamLiquid team, I should say, and Shopify. Because it's really interesting how.
Toby.
Yeah, Toby. It's really interesting how they changed their themes from TSL to TSL, and they're pretty unique, and they put a lot of work, a lot of effort into it. Yeah.
It's the theatrics in me that really appreciates it.
Like they even have their own custom like intros and stuff. If you remember from the main events, like the animations, the clay animation that they had last time.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was. So they put a lot of care, love, and effort into TSL, and it's always great to be a part of the broadcast in which way we can be. Here in the qualifiers, here bringing you this series. Honestly, it's the best one. Let's be real. Like I think we got a little bit lucky. Exclamation mark.
Well, we got the highest profile Zerg player, I think.
We did. Funada, but also shout out to Steadfast and Rotterdam. We do have 2 other English streams going on right now. They have their own series. I know one of them was covering Prince versus Ryung. Maybe both of them. I hope not. I hope they were able to split up. So they have their own series. We have ours, and we are getting into another PvZ.
Indeed, we are here. Actually, had a few of them on the bracket, from what I'm seeing. But yeah, we kind of lucked out on Solar Zoun. Very close series so far.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, Zoun once again going to his bread and butter. We do see a Stargate opener. Oracle first. Again, this has become quite standard in current meta. None of the Void Rays. None of that nonsense. Not anymore. No more PTSDs being triggered from many Zerg players out there.
We actually have a normal... Yeah, we actually have a normal expansion. For once. Well, about as normal as you can get here.
And meanwhile, the Oracles are trying to do what they can to be a little bit annoying. Meanwhile, this one drone looking a little bit exposed, but nice micro there by Solar. He pulls it back at the last moment. He rotates with his queens as well. So far, the Oracles haven't really done much at all.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the strengths here of, well, not really one of the strengths, but one of the features of Data C. You have very compact bases coming in here, so Queens, they don't really have too much of a distance to travel and to be able to defend against air units like this.
Yeah. Like, I mean, as we can see, Solar's done a great job so far. Meanwhile, we have a handful of Glaveless Adepts trying to poke and prod at the front door. They distract the Queens, and the Oracles dive in.
And that's one way you can take advantage of, or you can get around the compactness of bases. I just realized we don't have Game Heart, but 6 drones that go down, along with 6 Lings, with every Oracle staying alive. So, a pretty good pick-off so far for Zoun.
Oh my god, and he's doing it again. We have Pneumatized Carapace on the way, as well as a Lair. Interesting, Solar is moving out across the map with a wave of Lings. He did scout the opener. He did confirm that, okay, we do have a Twilight Council and +1. We do have a Forge, but we have something very different being upgraded.
Indeed we do. I'm loving it. So we don't have Glaives coming down. We don't have a lot of gas binding right now for Zoun. That's because he's going into a charge all-in.
He's going to a charge all-in.
I'd say all-in.
Well, he's going for a charge build, but speaking of all-ins, that's exactly what Solar is doing. He has finished droning. He stopped droning a while ago. 50 drones is all he needs. We do see a revelation, and he's getting an eye on the mineral lines, and I feel like we're missing drones. Has Zoun noticed, though?
I'm not convinced he has. A lot of drones have gone down, but that is elite. But Solar does not care at all about that. Drop a Lord of the Queens, make it its way across the map. Slowly but surely, Ravagers are being morphed in, making their way across the map.
Yeah.
I don't believe he has Galar Reconstitution. He doesn't, so that will give Zoun a couple extra seconds, but what can he really do?
Yeah,
with those seconds?
I don't think Zoun has correctly identified what has been going on. He already lost a couple of the Oracles across the map. Another one gets sniped, and in comes the Ling Roach Ravager again. Zoun didn't recognize what he was seeing when he was in between the bases. It didn't click that we were missing so many workers.
Yeah, and I just realized Light Zoun was getting a Robo Bay behind all of this as well, really cutting into his income. GG is called, and Sola, just like that, qualifies for TSL 9. Nicely done here by Solar.
GG, well played, as we quickly announce the scores here to our lovely admins. GG, well played. Solar does make it through. Again, we were maybe worried that, a couple of drones were dying to those oracles, but it didn't matter because Solar had Overlord speed on the way, and as soon as I saw that, I got flashbacks to the Quanta game. I was like, he's doing it again. Where he just loads up the Dropper Lord, he just picks everything up, he goes across the map, and as you pointed out, Zoun had no idea. He was teching up, he was getting more production, he was probing, not making units.
That's the exact last thing you want to do against a Sola who has had enough of ZVP.
Yeah, exactly. So a bit of a feels bad man for Zoun there, but very well played by Solar. It was really cool to see a little bit more of a back and forth, and Zoun had a really interesting take on Glaive Adepts in game number 2, in the game that he was able to take. But when it came to the more straight up games, Solar did have that edge.
He really did. And yeah. Shoutouts to Solar coming out here for being actually the second player from tonight's bracket to qualify, as Ragnarok has taken out Nightmare 3-0 much earlier on. He was actually the first player to qualify for TSL 9. 2 more slots available here in qualifier number 1 of Korea.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit shocked by how quickly Ragnarok qualified.
Yeah, especially against Nightmare.
That's insane.
Nightmare's that's a pretty good PvZ.
Yeah, GG, well played. I mean, we know how cheesy Ragnarok can be, to be fair. Like,
yeah, that is also true.
Oh god, so congratulations to Ragnarok and Solar. Again, I'm sure Solar will be updated on the bracket soon with his win, with his victory, which means we only have 2 series remaining here. Two more best of 5s left.